Forgot to press record. Okay, I'm recording.
It is time. We are. Oh, hi everyone. Heather here.
And I'm Tom.
Welcome to the Couples Table.
Episode 4.
Yay. Do you want to talk about our new piece of equipment? Just in case.
I didn't want to bring it up, but I have the camera. If you're watching this, I have the camera on a motorized slider head thing, just slowly going back and forth to just add a little bit of dynamic movement to what we got going on here. Hopefully that works okay. Just wanted to try something a little different.
Yeah. So there you go. All right. So before we start the show, let's check in with the comments. Aaron Abernathy says he's not going to make it, but have a good one. We will miss you.
He's getting some rest.
Yeah. And Lyle is here. Hello. Thanks for being our first commenter. Thanks for joining us today. And what are we talking about today, Tom?
Well, we're talking about what you would expect.
Yes, that's true.
Which is managing expectations.
We're going to be talking about managing expectations.
Yes. Yes. Managing expectations. Previously, we've talked about kind of taking, coming out of your shell and taking charge of your own life and how empowering and fun that can be. But the flip side of that, which we touched on a little bit last time, is that can sometimes butt up against what either is expected of you or you think is expected of you or you expect of yourself, and how to kind of work around that and manage those things.
So that's what we have in store for you today. And if you are new here, if this is your first time joining us, this is the Couples Table. This is our live stream podcast that we host weekly to talk about what was my new channel description or my new podcast description?
Oh, it's wonderful. It's the wedding vows.
Yeah, it's
for better or worse, for richer or poor.
For better or for worse, richer or poor, in sickness and in health.
Till death do us part.
No, I didn't put till death. I said for as long as we both shall live, I think.
That's a long time. That's at least like a few more episodes, I hope.
All right, so that's what the show is about. And we are live, so we will definitely be checking the comments. We hope that you can join us in the conversation. At some point, this will be hosted via audio somewhere, but we don't know yet, and we'll let you know. All right, so we're going to jump into it with the title.
Let's jump in. So we kind of want to break expectations is a broad topic, and we wanted to break it down a little bit. Where do we want to begin?
So let's start with the common question that we've gotten ever since we got married. And I think this is very common for newlyweds, that as soon as there's an announcement of an engagement or a wedding, the next logical question:
when are you going to have kids? It's just like when you start dating, and it's, well, when are you going to get engaged? And as soon as you get engaged, when are you going to get married? As soon as you get kids, when are you going to, or you get married, when are you going to have kids? And then I don't know what happens after that. Like, when are you going to die, I guess. But it's a very pervasive question.
But it's a pervasive question, but also like it's so common that it's not.
People don't even think about it.
Yeah.
It's just like, how's the weather?
Exactly.
It's just kind of that sort of thing.
I feel like when people ask it, here's the expectation that you're going to have kids.
Yeah.
So it's a logical, like, oh, so it's not a matter of if, but when.
Yeah.
In our case, it actually is an if.
Wait,
because
what?
We're not.
Oh, I misunderstood you. I thought you said in our case, it is an if. And I was like, is it?
Yeah. But I mean, like, if, like, are you going to have kids?
Right.
No.
The answer is no.
Yeah.
Right.
Don't worry. So, yeah.
So that's a thing that happens because it's interesting because kids specifically are, I mean, honestly, like, should be a choice to have kids or not. And it's something I think a lot of people do just feel, well, it's sort of, I'm expected to, it's what we're expected to, it's what we're supposed to do. And, having been a high school teacher for a long time, I can definitely tell you the world would be better off if parents really thought about that before having kids and going, do we want to have kids? Are we the type of people that are
not, you're not implying like these kids should not have been born. You mean,
no, I'm just saying not every parent is a good parent. And
not every parent is a good parent, and
not every bad parent is a bad person. And sometimes, for whatever reason, there's an infinite number of circumstances. So I'm not trying to touch on like every possible thing. And sometimes people do the best with the cards that they're dealt, and 1,000 different reasons. And there's some people who strive to be parents and want nothing more. We have friends who spent years on like adoption lists and were rejected and this and that, and everything, you know, fell apart. And then finally, like literally it was one day, like, we have a kid for you. You have to decide in an hour if you want them or not. And of course they said yes and took them because that was their like goal, was to be a family. And then they've since adopted another child and they couldn't be happier. And there's other people that's just not the case, that if you have kids, you're just not either able to provide for them emotionally or, you know, physically or whatever.
So here's my thing.
It's tricky.
It is tricky, but I also don't want to put parents on blast or anything.
No.
Like if you know, I think my struggle when it comes to the kids question is that there isn't enough people who are married without kids, that it feels very much, I feel like I'm doing something wrong by having decided not to have kids. And that's where I have like, I don't know, friction about it. I think, you know, everyone, it's different for everybody. And I want to be sensitive to people who, like Tom said, you know, have been trying to have kids. They want kids. They want nothing more to be parents and can't for whatever reason. But in my case, I feel like there's a lot of expectation and pressure to just, you know, I've literally gotten yelled at for saying that I didn't want kids, like that there was something wrong with me as a woman for rejecting this, I don't know, what seems like a natural step in life. And I guess what I wanted to talk about today is just kind of, it's been awesome to be able to find a life partner who agrees with me on this. I mean, I don't think we could have been life partners if we didn't agree, obviously. But I think it's just weird because like even in our circle, we don't know that many people who are like, yeah, we're not having kids. Yay. You know, it's like if they don't have kids, it's because they're trying, or they're, you know, it's family planning. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, but the interesting thing with it is just decisions, like respecting the decisions of others. If people, you know, if people want to be parents and have kids, that's terrific. And the world needs more good parents. And if people don't want to have kids, that's fine too. And it's a good thing that people who don't want to have kids aren't having kids, because that would be frustrating for everybody involved. And I think the key is to just go, yeah, cool, that's your thing. Like that's your, you know, I'm thinking of the pandemic right now. Like there's just different scenarios, because as somebody who, you know, doesn't have kids and hasn't, you know, has said that we're not having kids, prior to the pandemic, the biggest response I got, at least when saying no, was like, oh, but you're going to miss, you know, you're going to miss this and you're going to miss that. And what about this? And like parents kind of lay out the things that are really special about having kids that you just don't get in your life if you don't have kids. Then the pandemic hit. And then there was this flip of like, all you people without kids, and you're just watching Netflix and you're just playing video games and doing this, and we're trying to do this. And it's like, well, the flip side to our decision is, you're right, we are missing out on the stuff you're talking about. But in other instances, we get a lifestyle that you also don't get. And neither one is right or wrong or better or worse. Exactly. It just has to be, if you're someone who's dying to have kids and you're stuck alone by yourself with Netflix and stuff, that's not going to be fulfilling. And if you're somebody who never wanted to have kids, but you just sort of like went along and now you have 8 kids and your life is just kind of overwhelming all the time, that's also not a good place to be. So it's just, each road has its own consequences and outcomes, and they're all fine, but it's rarely talked about that you don't like. Here's a better example that's more personal, less harmful. Despite the fact neither of my parents went to college, I grew up literally not knowing that you didn't have to go to college. It wasn't until I was like in college or maybe late high school where I was like,
oh, it's a choice.
Wait, you don't have to? Like, I clearly thought if you're not going to college, well, like it's because you failed to get into college, even community college, whatever. That's where I went. But like college, there's more school after school. I didn't realize, my parents just drilled it into me like, that's what you do. That is the next thing. And then unfortunately, like that worked for me, but being a teacher myself, I see tons of kids where college is not the right choice for them, and they will be happier and more successful doing something else besides college, but they don't even necessarily know that it's a choice not to go. And so now they're going to take on student loans, and they're going to study something they don't want to study, and they're going to move somewhere they don't even want to go to, and do this whole life change for something that's really not even a good fit, because they don't know that they can even question it in the first place. And I think a lot of stuff with having kids is kind of like that. A lot of people feel like, well, this is just the next step, as opposed to stepping back and looking, going, well, what's my life? What do I want to create? What works? What doesn't? And like we talked about before, cherry picking the best things that you want to include for you specifically, understanding that it's going to be a little different for everybody.
Yeah, I think I think it's also different for women, because I mean, we're the ones who bear the children, and I think there's a lot of guilt that I not that I feel, but like my mom, like my family, people who are close to me, like, you're just not going to have kids. And the way that I think about it is kind of the same question that I vividly remember asking my mom when I decided to quit my job and figure out entrepreneurship. And the thing with my mom is, of course, she wants the best for me, always has. I'm her kid, like I get that. But because she's so, she's very like, I know what works, and it's the way that I know, and that's the way that it should be done. Whenever I tried doing it a different way that she didn't understand, entrepreneurship is a perfect example. She was like, hell no, this is not, this is such a bad idea. This is, her biggest question was like, what if you run out of money? What if you never make it? What if this doesn't work? What if like all of the what if negativity? And after all months of arguing and fighting with her, I finally said, instead of asking yourself, what if it doesn't work? Ask yourself, what if it does? Like, flip your fear the other way, because what if it does? Now I'm here. I'm married to this amazing man. Like, if I had not given myself a chance, I would not be here. And that's kind of the same thing with everything, going back to the cherry picking thing. I'm not saying that my way is the way, but I love exploring the other side that isn't necessarily the most common path. And I think what's weird about the not having kids thing, again, is like, there aren't people in their 40s and 50s just like celebrating life with no kids. Like, it's so rare for me to find that. And actually, one of my mentors who has been on this vlog channel, they don't have kids, and they're, I don't know, late 50s, and they're both business owners, and it's crazy. Like, their life is so crazy in terms of like, they have a bajillion hobbies. They, they're like living the life that I'm like, I hope that's what we're like when we're in our late 50s, because they're partying like they're a couple in their mid 30s, which is crazy. And I don't know anyone in their age bracket who's doing that. Unless they're like, empty nesters, of course. But it's just like, I don't know. I don't know what my point is.
I think the point is that there are just different options, but in this case, with this specific thing, the expectations lean so heavily one way,
I guess, like,
that you just don't see the other that often. And so it's hard to even explore it when you don't even have common examples of it. And then when you're doing it, you feel a little isolated.
Weird, because I wish, okay, I'm not going to say I wish, because it sounds like I'm complaining, but like, I just wish that people didn't ask us when we were having kids as if it were the expectation.
Well, so here's
like, I wish it weren't the expectation. It's like, instead, like, oh, what's up? Like, or what do you have planned or whatever. But like, literally, I had someone who I just cut out of my life, to be honest, but she just, I tried to explain, like, oh, the kid that I have in my life is my business, is the thing that I'm creating, because I care about it. And, obviously I don't have a kid, so I don't know what it's like to have a kid, but I care about what I am creating. I'm the only person who can create it. Everything that goes into this business is me. I'm putting my all into it. Time, money, energy, resources, everything into my business. And to me, that's the closest thing to, raising something up. but this person completely just rejected the whole thing and was like, it's a woman's, job, right, whatever, to be a mom. Like, you just don't know. And she just made me feel so bad. And I was like, bye. I don't want to talk to you ever again, because I don't want you to make me feel bad about my life choices, yo.
Well, but the other part too that I thought of is having known people also who can't have kids, like want kids and can't have them, and then getting asked the question, when you have kids, it's terrible. I know we talked about people don't think about, it's just a natural thing. People aren't thinking about it. They don't really mean anything by it, but it is also a wildly personal question to just constantly throw out casually. And I would just encourage people to not.
I remember seeing a lot of this when I was new to the entrepreneur world, and it was like, in the same way that couples have baby showers, there should be business showers, where if you're gonna, you have plans to launch a business, that's a very exciting life change, life endeavor, new journey that you're about to embark on. And the same way that people shower a couple with baby gifts and well wishes and, support on, the journey of raising a child, there should totally be business showers of like, you're gonna
reams of paper.
Yeah, like launch your business. Like, here's a, I don't know, Squarespace subscription or whatever. Like, here's a camera for your content that you're going to be creating. And I just like,
or just here's some shared excitement for your new thing.
Right.
That's best. We should check in with the chat.
Okay, we're checking.
We got a super chat.
Oh, za. Enjoy the time. Keep knowing each other. Boop, 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 boop. Oh, I don't need to do that anymore.
Yeah, you still can.
Okay, Paul Feinberg. Nothing is wrong with you. I think it's more selfish to have kids and not be able to give them the full love and attention that is required for having kids.
Yes. Because I do think kids deserve that level of time and attention and love and care. And that goes far beyond 18 years or whatever, like the standard is that people think that's the rest of your life as a parent. And you got to be willing to do that above all.
Yeah, I mean,
and I'm not, which is why I shouldn't have kids.
Well, it's not even about, see, the thing is, it's not even about willing for me. It's more of like, I don't want to.
Well, yeah,
I just don't want to
have the desire.
Yeah.
I have other things.
Like, how people are just like, oh my God, I can't wait to be a mom. Actually, this is so funny. I was telling Tom this earlier. I have discovered a new, well, she's not a new channel. She's been, creating content for 6 years, but I recently discovered her YouTube channel. I've been following her on Instagram for years. She's actually a beauty person, which is weird because I never really watch any like beauty, makeup, hair stuff. I don't care for that content, but, I started following her because she does wigs, and I'm all about the crazy hair that I like. Anyway, so she recently got pregnant and decided to document the whole pregnancy on YouTube, and it's through vlogs, obviously. And I love her content. I'm like, I can't get enough of watching it. And it's so crazy because she's so freaking thrilled to be pregnant. Like, it makes me so happy to see how happy she is. Like, she's just I'm just so happy for her, but I do not care to have that. Like, it's just like another affirmation of like the way that she feels about being pregnant is like everything I dread. Like, I would never feel that, it's not like I'm watching her and getting like, oh, I wish I were pregnant. I'm like, oh, hell no. That's it. Like, today in the video I saw someone, she was like doing a frequently asked questions, and someone was like, oh, are you scared of like childbirth? And she was like, I love needles. I love pain. I can't wait to like, for the actual birth. And I was like, are you kidding me? That's crazy. Cause no.
Well, thank you, Paul. Paul's always like super supportive, and it's really nice.
Za says, people are always annoyed that it happened to my wife and me all the time. We have been married for 6 years, no kids. We enjoy life. Good for you.
Good for you for just enjoying your life, whatever that may be, kids or not. Look, Aaron's not asleep.
Aaron is totally here. Aaron, we gave you a shout out at the very beginning of the show because you had left us a comment saying that you would
hit
be
my
here.
tooth on the microphone. Oh. Sorry.
And you're here now. And he says, I really want kids, but having got to 42 without becoming a parent, I completely see the appeal of never having them. There's no way I could be up at 2:15 watching a YouTube live show if I had a baby.
That's true.
And honestly, like, going off of that, raising Finley for,
2 months.
For 2 months.
Finley is our puppy.
Yes, our corgi, who's going to be 16 weeks very soon. There was a time where I was like, not regretting it, but
it's called the puppy blues. It's a real thing. Like
it's like I was so tired.
Well, it's not. I mean, you get a puppy, and the puppy's adorable. The puppy doesn't know anything about anything. Not unlike a baby human. Isn't like potty trained. Doesn't even know how its own body works. Doesn't know you. You don't know it. So there's not like a bond right away. It's like you have to get to know each other. And as fun as puppies can be, it's also like a complete nightmare, and you're just living in a fog for weeks on end because you're completely exhausted all the time.
Shocker, I didn't go to bed yet. Going very soon. I feel like the burden to have kids is driven by a whole bunch of different societal pressures, whether it's familial, religious, peer pressure, governmental, 100%.
Yeah. And it's one of, it's kind of, it's the thing you do because it's what everybody does. So it's what you do. Like,
but see, I mean, this is a running theme of this show, but what I really like about us is that everything about us, we always do it. Like if we didn't know what a married couple's life looked like, how would we make it?
Right.
Like if we didn't know what a wedding was, how'd we do it?
Yeah.
Imagine if the only kids that were born into the world were the intentional ones that were wanted and loved. I think the entire planet would be in a happier state of being. I agree with that. I also feel like there's a lot of accidental babies that have like really changed the world, which is awesome.
I mean, you can be, I think most babies are actually, I think the next comment, Mr. JRH says, if all kids were planned, the world would be empty. I think most babies are probably accidents, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the parent.
I don't know about that.
I don't know. I don't know. I don't have statistics. I'm going on a gut instinct that I feel like most worldwide babies are accidents, but that doesn't mean like that the couple was never planning to have kids. Doesn't mean the couple doesn't want kids. It just means maybe at that time they weren't planning to have a kid, and those kids can still be loved and whatever. And flip side too, the previous comment about kids being born into a world where it was intentional. I come from my mom being adopted when she was like my grandparents, which were my adopted grandparents, but as far as I've ever considered them, were just my grandparents because they helped raise me, and I like spent my childhood and young adulthood with them until they passed away. And they raised my mom and her brother, who was another adopted baby. So none of them are related by blood, but there's no reason that they weren't family. And that's, there's just so many different ways for people to provide like love and care and things that I don't know. I would just bring up the idea that adoption is also a thing where you have kids that don't get the love they need, and then there's people willing to provide it that can't do it on their own. And that's a wonderful thing. I love my grandparents so much and cherish the relationship we had when they were alive, and that wouldn't have happened if they didn't really want kids and then seek out adoption.
Right.
But I also know that they were really happy that I was happy and like living my best life when they passed away too. So there's no judgment there.
Paul Feinberg. Hi. I told my wife I could have kids and I would also not mind having kids. I let her decide. She didn't want to go through the birth process. We fostered a few babies and ended up adopting Kyson. How cute.
And it continues on the next one. He's now two and a half.
And we finalized the adoption on 10/30/19. We were just having one. That's adorable. Congratulations.
Congratulate. Because that process is, I know 9 months of pregnancy is a whole roller coaster, but the adoption process, having seen several people go through it several times,
and
wow,
like props to you for fostering. That's so cool.
Oh, I know.
I've been following Zach King for years, and him and his wife do that, which is crazy to me because he's like seems so busy. but yeah, they fostered a kid and then ended up adopting as well, and they're so happy, and it's so. I love that. I'm happy. I love parents. Like I definitely want to make sure that this isn't like we're better than you because we are not having kids. Totally not. Like, my best friends have kids, and
it's more about the idea that you're choosing a less common path and what are the expectations that are placed upon you as a result.
Mike Mina, me and my partner have thought about adoption. There isn't any medical issues, just kind of as a socially good thing to do. Either way, terrified and a couple years away. Well, yeah, I think adoption's really cool, and I wish more people considered it, but I don't know. I'm not pushing my my wishes on anybody.
I just want everybody to do what's right for them. If that's having kids, not having kids, adopting kids, I just want people to do what's right for them.
Right. I think whoever said it, going back to the family pressure, like I think there's never going to be a day where my mom's like not going to be wishing that.
I mean, your mom's always your mom.
Yeah,
I know.
Of course. I feel like what mom isn't going to want to be a grandmom, you know?
I know, but that's totally not a reason to bring a life into the earth for like a potential century. It's like, that's just not, it's just not a thing. And I think I have also known a lot of people that rushed in because they want kids, because they want, like, they're so adorable and they're so cute and they're so small. And it's like, sure, until they're not. And then what are you going to do for the rest of your life and theirs? Like you forget about, well, there's going to be a teenage phase. There's an adult phase. There's a, like, it's like when people want a puppy and they just think of the cute puppy romping around and they forget about, oh, you have to like teach
poo it. And pee.
Which I guess is the same for babies. But, like really looking at, you're having a kid, modern life expectancy, upwards of a century, what do you want to do to bring that? Do you want to bring that? That's a big thing to just consider. And I know, like,
for me though,
cute clothes are cute, but like,
for me though, it comes down, like, I don't even think about that stuff.
I
know, well, of course, because you're a guy.
Oh,
I think that's what it comes down to, because for me as a woman who would be the one, birthing the thing, I just don't have that urge to do that. And that's it. Like, I don't even go beyond, everything else just scares me. So I don't even go down that route. Like, how do you pay for college? I don't know. Like, I'm not even going to go there, like, the decision's already been made before the baby's even born. Like, I don't even go further than that. So anyway, don't judge us.
I mean, well, the point, I think our ultimate point, we're using this as an example, but is to try and not judge, as long as people are making the choices that are best for them.
Well, my thing is, like, okay, our goal with our content, my goal with my content, let me speak for
myself. Sounds like an apology video.
Is to document my life, right? And this is show maybe a different side that people would not otherwise know. And I think a big part of that is, we're going to go through our 30s, our 40s, our 50s, and for a very long time, hopefully, without kids. And I think there just isn't enough of that lifestyle out there. And so, I don't know how to, if you're feeling the pressure, like if you're in this, like, you're in a relationship, you're thinking about kids and you're deciding not to, but there's a lot of pressure to have kids. I don't know. I honestly don't have any advice on, like, how to navigate that, because what I did was just like, no, mom, I'm not having kids. I don't, end of conversation, and she could wish all she wants, but I just, there's a little bit of guilt that I have to juggle sometimes. But other than that, like, I'm just focusing, like, I'm way more focused on my business and, what we're doing together and stuff like that. So I don't know.
Well, I think it's a good time to check in with comments, wrap up this example of expectations, and then shift gears into a different one.
Here. Erin says, I've noticed that some people who have kids can sometimes feel like others' choice to not have them is a critique on their family or something. There's a bit of projection going on, I guess.
Well,
yeah, totally.
So an example of that is I don't eat meat. And I hate telling people that, even though I just told you all that. But if there's like an event and somebody wants, I will usually just not say anything, because I can pretty much always find something or deal with it and it's no big deal. But sometimes you have to, because someone's going to put, like, they're going to need to prepare something or whatever. And you have to be like, oh, sorry, I don't eat meat. I hate doing that because I don't want to be an inconvenience to anyone. But there's also, it's not uncommon for people to be like, well, why? Like, it's not a personal attack on them
that you don't eat meat.
I don't eat meat. I'm not attacking you for eating meat.
Yeah, and Tom tells me this all the time, because I love grilling me my steaks.
Yes.
And obviously he's vegetarian. Then there's so many times where I'm like, Tom, I'm sorry. Can I still eat the steak? And he's like, of course you can, because that's his decision for his life.
I'm not here.
He's not judging anybody else. Yeah.
But it is a thing I have noticed, just in that thing where if I say I don't eat meat, people don't look at it necessarily as like, oh, Tom doesn't eat meat. They look at it as like, Tom's judging me because I eat meat. It's like, no, I I did eat meat before. It was delicious. I just chose not to for my own reasons, and that's fine.
Mike says super personal stuff revealed here. Very freaking interesting seeing y'all talk about this stuff, from camera gear to real deep stuff. Heather's channel already really personal. Mike, I'm guessing he came from your channel. Did you come from Tom's channel?
We don't talk about these things on my channel.
Yeah, my channel is real personal and has been since day one. And I didn't go into it like, oh, I gotta tell all the juicy details or anything. But my thing is like, I just want to document the journey as authentically as possible. And that includes a lot of these subjects.
Well, just making decisions because you're navigating. Like,
yeah. There you go.
Yeah.
Because being a business owner and parent is a whole different kind of journey, but we're just not doing that. So this is what it's going to end up being like instead.
I like it. And I like having the chance to be a part of it as well, just because like my YouTube channel, my stuff, I just have things that I'm interested in that I want to share and talk about. And I know that people come for that content aren't interested in my thoughts on like vegetarianism or whatever. And it's not why this exists, but it is nice to show another side.
Yeah.
Because we do live in a time when it is so common to just see. You can see my videos that come out and are like polished and well done all the time, but you might not see like what goes into making that a thing that's possible to do. And so people are real people, and it's nice to see
this is a perfect segue.
Oh, is it?
Yes.
I did that on purpose.
To the other type of expectation that we juggle is being a content creator.
Yes.
Because man, do a lot of viewers feel like their expectations of the content that a content creator is supposed to create is the way that it should be done.
So Mike just said, yes, he came here from Tom's channel, and he was the one today.
Oh, yeah.
Which is funny because I uploaded a video today that was filmed at 60 frames per second, which if you're not familiar with, it's just where things look ultra smooth. I don't do that. It's a very stylistic thing to do. And I just kind of did it for no reason, but just to see if like anyone would say anything. And Mike was like the only person who said something.
I totally saw your comment. I was laughing so hard because he's been making such a big deal about the frames per second thing, which I never even noticed. Okay, Aaron says, I go through the same thing. I have a big old straight edge tattoo on my arm. It never ceases to amaze me when I explain to people that I don't drink, how personally offended they can get.
Oh yeah, no, I also am not a big drinker, and it's not an issue now in my mid 30s, but in my like early 20s, people were very personally offended when it's like, you don't want to like, I'm like,
I was.
Yeah, and that's fine. And that's like, that is fine.
When we met, when I used to drink a lot. And we just don't drink anymore. But let's see. Mr. JRH, once kids start sleeping all night, I love them. Until about 12 or 13 is when things go bad. I was such a horrible teenager. I feel like I would be the one who would get the revenge child.
I feel like I was a pretty good kid, and
you were so good.
But there were still times where I'm like, I can't believe you said that to like your mom, or you did like and I feel like I was pretty good, and it was still rough.
Okay, this is funny. Mike thought he was drunk watching your content earlier. Aaron now thinks that he can't decide whether he's really tired or if there's a super subtle camera move happening here.
See, I'm throwing in all these tricks, you guys.
So Aaron, we talked about it in the beginning, but Tom got a new motorized slider, and so we're testing it out. I don't really know. I don't have a preference, but what do you think about it? Because you guys are all, you watch his content. You're all about tech and video production.
I've seen it won't work on my channel because I do, I talk and there'll be jump cuts. So it'd be hard because it would
jump.
You'd have to like really cover it up with other footage, but in a live stream, there's no jump cuts. So I'm curious how that looks, but that does go into things. So like the comments we're talking about here of like Aaron and Mike, those are like dialogue where it's like, hey, is this that? Is that? Those are awesome. Like I love having those discussions online.
Yeah.
The expectations that come in. I'm trying to get the train on the track. The expectations that come into play. I mean, there's a lot. If you're somebody who creates anything online, whether it's video, podcast, whatever, there are a lot of expectations from your audience and from yourself, and then of course from potentially from the world around you. But between you and your audience, that's where there's a whole world of expectations that can be really tough to navigate and constantly changing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't get this so much anymore, but Tom continuously gets comments about like, people dictating how he should do his videos, and I just find,
I call it the actually crowd, because if I post like a video that's about a technique or a thing, there's always the people who show me like actually blah 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 blah, and it's like it's usually people making subjective statements as if they're objective facts, and it's like, just tell me. And that's why, like, I put so many disclaimers in my videos about, this is my opinion, this is my way of doing it, this is the way it works for me, because there's so many different ways to peel the potato. That
really quick, Paul says, I think he's going to go watch a movie with his wife, which is awesome. You both are great. See you on Twitter, Tom R6 maybe.
Let's just say high five, because you'll get it. He'll get it.
Okay. Mike says, I knew it. I thought I was seeing a slider. I like the move. It's adding something cool. There you go.
It's an interesting thing. So what are some expectations you have dealt with, which also, let me say, as a male content creator who lives with a female content creator, the feedback we get wildly different.
Yeah. Well, because what's stupid, this is straight up stupid and very frustrating, is that most of the comments that Tom gets are about the content.
Yeah. I mean, almost
comments
entirely.
that I get are not necessarily about the content. It's like, I mean, that's just, it's not that these comments really bother me, but they're very judgmental. Like,
if you're making a video about like, here's how to design a YouTube watermark, and someone wants to then drop a comment about like personal appearance.
Yeah. I mean, whatever. It's part of the territory.
I know that is part of the territory, but I don't know.
I think, okay. So because I went into my YouTube channel, knowing that the YouTube channel was going to be about my life, and, being very open about this journey, because I wanted to be able to, I love watching my old vlogs. Like, I feel it's cool to relive these moments. And I have a horrible memory, and I'm not kidding when I say I make these videos so that I could rewatch them and look back. Like, I imagine a day in the future where I go through the whole thing from episode 1 and just sit there viewing it all with pride for everything that I've done. Right. But when I'm in the moment, there's a lot of self-expectation and constant disappointment, because I feel like I'm not where I want to be. That's really annoying. And I think people forget that the creator is usually their own biggest critic. Like, I see what you see. If it's a video about a decision that I've made, trust me that I've weighed all the other options, but some people will comment like, oh, you should have done this, you should have done this. And it's like telling me what I should have done instead. Whereas, like, no one's telling you, well, I guess you get some people who are like, you should have gotten a Sony camera instead of a Canon camera or whatever.
Life though.
Yeah. Well, yeah, because obviously your content's not about, it is not about your life. So, I mean, that's why, but.
Yeah. I mean, there's audience expectations, I think, it can be a good thing, because I know, or at least I would hope, that if someone's going to watch one of my videos, their expectation is that it's going to not be a waste of their time, that they're going to learn something. Hopefully it's like at least somewhat entertaining or interesting. And I think that's important when you're putting the video together and you're planning it all out, to keep that in mind, because it's easy to just go off on tangents or just want to wedge something in that doesn't really fit. But you're like, no, like, what does the person who clicked on this, what are they going to want to get out of it? And that's a good expectation, because it helps keep things like in line with where they need to be. But I mean, there's weird I don't even know how to describe it, because my channel, like, I really can't complain. I get mostly positive feedback. And when I get non-positive feedback, it tends to be more of a constructive dialogue, other than the actually crowd, which I just delete, like if someone's being a jerk or whatever. But oftentimes people will say like, what about this? Or did you think, or why did you? And then I can explain, they explain, and that. But
those are still like fun to get into.
Yeah. Oh, I love that. That's just having a discussion. Yeah, I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. I don't love the ones where people are just telling you you're an idiot and you're wrong and blah, blah, blah. And, or this is a waste of,
Yeah, because I think what people forget is like, YouTube videos are a work of art, like, yeah, it's like someone doing a tutorial or someone teaching something, but there was hours of effort that went into creating that thing. A lot of decisions between where I'm going to put the angle, like where am I going to set up the camera, what equipment am I going to use, what am I going to edit out? Yeah, planning, all of these things, like creating the damn thumbnail, which takes like a long time just in itself, and then for someone to be like, this is stupid or whatever, it's like it's part of the territory, but very annoying.
And it's not that any of those things by themselves are bad, but it can be, if there's too much of it, it's like this trickle, and it's just one drop and one drop and one drop, and it kind of fills up and overflows, and then you just start feeling like,
oh, so here's an example.
Oh,
so I used to do Postmates. I used to be a Postmate, right? I used to deliver for Postmates because it was like my side hustle to make some money on the side. And my Postmates videos are probably my most popular videos on this channel. And I got a comment once that was like, oh, this video feels so fake. This person was clearly paid by Postmates because they're only talking about how amazing the app was and blah, blah, blah. And that comment, oh my God, I was so annoyed. I was so offended because it was like, number one, I wasn't paid. That would have been great, because then it would have been like, yeah, sure, I took the money. I was not approached by Postmates at all. Secondly, my review was genuine. Like I liked it. You know, I didn't have anything negative to say. And it wasn't because I was being paid not to say the negative. It was just I really had nothing negative to say. And that started a whole, like, someone saw that comment, they jumped on, and it was this thread of just like how fake I am. And I deleted it finally, but it was very annoying.
Yeah. And
especially when your video's getting thousands of views at the time.
And obviously, like, it's this delicate balance, because when it comes to stuff like that, you know, you can say, well, just don't read the comments, just ignore it. And it's true. But you also do want to keep a dialogue going with the people who are taking the time. And so you do need to pay attention to it. And it's easy to ignore it, but it's almost like, it's just tricky, because when there's just this constant little stream, it does kind of live in the back of your brain, and then it lives there when you're doing the thing, and you're kind of remembering like
what someone said. And
it's this weird thing. I don't know if that counts as expectations, but it is like the opinions of others. I think I don't know. It's tricky, and then it goes into your expectations of what you want and where you want to go, and
it totally messes with like the vision, because now it's like tainted by, you know, these stupid people who are like, you know what I wish? I wish that before you could leave a YouTube comment, you have to have made a YouTube video that accepts comments. Because I feel like you should be able to get comments on your content before you start, you know, leaving comments.
Well, I have a whole thing to go on about the dislike button and why I wish they didn't have it, but that's probably a different episode.
Day.
Yeah. But
yeah. I mean, I think the biggest thing as a content creator is also the self expectation.
That's where it goes in, because then you put these expectations on yourself. How do you
manage your self expectations, Tom?
There's no like boss at YouTube saying like, well, to have your account stay active, you must upload 2 videos a week or something. Like, it's just do whatever or don't. But obviously, like, if you want things to grow and if you want to get better, you need to do things regularly and consistently and follow all these best practices, and you want to, you know, be really good at it. And that can add pressure. I have personally tried to put systems in place to deal with that, like scheduling videos in advance. So if a video comes out on Thursday, I didn't make the video on Wednesday. I probably made it a couple weeks before, or at least a week before, and scheduled it. So that way, if life gets in the way, if things go crazy, I don't stress out about, you know, oh my God, I have to have the thing, because I do want to keep that regular upload schedule, because I think that's important for building a community, but I don't want to, you know, do it at the cost of my own sanity. So that's an easy measure to kind of like come up with. But there's things like, you know, easily being intimidated by somebody else's content. I'm making a video about this thing or that thing or this way, and then you see somebody else is doing it this way, and it's like, oh, it's like, that's so much better. Or like,
yeah, I remember going through that.
Yeah, I mean, you've gotten it pretty hard at times. I feel like I've done a good job at not, but it still kind of does burden. It's just this weird thing of, you know, where you want to be versus where you are, and setting goals for yourself. And are they realistic goals to set? Are they goals that are even within your power? Like, a lot of people always say, like, I want to have this many subscribers by the end of the year. And it's like, you can do things that might influence that, but you can't. You could get 10,000 new subscribers tomorrow, or you could get 6 between now and the end of the year. And there's not much you can really do about that. So if you set this expectation for like, I'm going to clear off the spot for my silver play button early, like that is going to, that's going to be bad for you. Whereas if you go, hey, I'm going to make things really consistently that I'm proud of, and I hope that grows my channel, that's something you can be in charge of. And so it's like understanding what your expectations are and the whys behind them, and then being kind to yourself throughout the process.
And I think managing self expectations, because I feel like that's the thing that really determines like your sanity, your mood, your motivation, whether you take action or not. It really is how you feel about your own expectations. And I think a lot of it comes to grit and character building and self-awareness of just knowing yourself and kind of, you know, going through disappointment, going through feelings of accomplishment. And that kind of helps like ground you in terms of what you are capable of, so that you have realistic expectations and you're not so hard on yourself. Or at least that's how it was for me.
We talked about this earlier. I know you could just check in with comments, but I did want to bring it up just because we're right on this thing. And it was a thought I had earlier. With YouTube, there's no explicit expectations. And YouTube, you know, they're aware of creator burnout and those kinds of things. And they will send things that say like, take time off. We'll be here when you get back. Like, take care of yourself, do that. But they also have these big, dumb red arrows that show up on your content when it doesn't perform well. No, they'll turn red if it gets bad enough. They're just not red all the time. I don't want to stop the slider. But for example, I had a video that came out today, which I love and I'm very proud of. It is ranked 10 out of 10 after my last 10 recent videos, which isn't as good as it sounds. It's at the bottom. It's the least popular of the 10 videos, which is fine. I'm like, okay, cool. Not a problem. Still like the video. It's a video that's also going to be relevant for the foreseeable future. So it's just going to be there for people for a long time. But then YouTube literally puts a thing up that says your audience's interest in this video is lower than usual. And it's like, I can see that, YouTube. You don't need to tell me this. And I know that it doesn't matter, and it's easy to ignore, but it gets in your head, especially because there's sort of a thing where the videos that I'm most excited to make and excited about are the ones that do the worst.
Of course. And that's always how it is.
Yeah, I know. And that's not an uncommon thing, but that is where you're like, hey, here's something I'm really proud of. And I'm comfortable with the fact that it's like probably not going to be the most successful video I do this month, but I like it. I'm proud of it. I'm going to put it out there. I don't need the platform itself telling me, ooh, not so good this time, Tom. And then, yeah, but also we're here for you. and it's tricky. But what I was telling, I don't remember where we talked about this, but the thing about it is, looking at that video's performance a few weeks ago, or I should say a few months ago on my channel, it would have been number 2 or number 3 out of 10. But because like
your other
the channel has been doing really well,
so amazing.
Yeah, now this video is way at the bottom, and then I feel bad about myself. But if I look at it objectively, I'm like, I would have been like so happy to have a video that does this well just a few months ago, but now I'm feeling bad about it. Are you serious? Like, why?
Yeah, Tom, why?
Well, then I don't. But if I don't look at it through that lens, then I'll start to feel crummy.
Definitely.
So yeah, anyway, let's check in with everyone.
Let's check in with the comments. Aaron says, I was going to say the vlog is something for the grandkids to enjoy.
For some people's grandkids.
Yeah.
For the grandkids of the earth.
Mike says, I noticed that with women tech channels too. Just saw one where people were commenting on her arms while she was showing a light she was reviewing. It was just kind of gross. Yeah.
There's a lot of like, marry me comments in like female channel where they will literally be like, look at these headphones. They have this much bass frequency. And someone's like, marry me. I wish I had like a wife like this. And it's like
I don't know what to
say.
The
tattooed bearded dudes channel. People are like, those headphones are dope, dude. Sick vid, bro.
I know. See, like why? And then it sucks because like even when you get like female commenters, they can be so vicious. You know, it's like they tear each other down. Which I just said that like 5 times in a row.
Whoa.
The vlog that I'm watching right now is CC Clark. Go check her out because she's just. I know most of you guys watching are dudes, but she's just such a light. She's so much fun. A lot of her, all of her comments are all so supportive. It's like, oh, I love being a part of this like community of supportive females. Like it's it's rare to see that on the internet. Everyone's tearing each other down, you know? Anyway, Aaron says, Heather, how do you overcome the fear stress of exposing yourself out there in the most public way, like social media?
That's a great question, actually. Because talk about expectations.
So the weird part that I had to learn how to navigate was that by putting my life out on social media, which there isn't really a fear because I don't have anything to hide. So, like I remember my earliest videos, I didn't wear makeup. I was crying. Like I started very early on being very real and raw so that I almost feel like the worst thing already happened to me. So there was nothing to fear because I had already gone through the worst thing. The thing I had to navigate though was that putting my life out on social media, it wasn't just my life I was putting out there. By telling everyone, hi, like my parents are not supportive of my entrepreneurial journey, I'm now folding in my parents. And I'm sure they don't want everyone, they don't want everyone knowing like we weren't supportive of our daughter's like ambitions, even though it's already out there. It's just the truth, yo. But that was something I had to like, I always had to remind myself, like, this is you telling your story. And even if your story involves someone else, be very careful about not telling their story. Only, share the details that kind of like involve you. And if they want to make a video about their own thing, then they can or whatever. No one did, but my parents don't have a secret YouTube channel or anything. If they did, that'd be so cool. I wish they did. So yeah, there is no stress. There is no fear. It's like, it's a joy. I consider the community almost like a friend. I see the camera as a friend. I know that there are people who care, that are watching and following and interested in what's happening. So I don't know.
Well, I think
does that make sense?
It does make sense, especially because, and putting your life out, it's not like you're putting every single thing.
Most of my stress when it comes to putting content out on social media is all self-inflicted in terms of like, okay, like today I was just thinking about, I can't believe the last post I posted was on Monday. There's been 4 days since Monday. I haven't posted since. I told myself I would be posting every single day. I'd put more out there and I didn't. Why haven't I done that, Heather? Like, oh my gosh, you suck. Like, wow. Then I just go into my head like, I can't stay consistent. I set a goal. I failed. Like, you should be putting more out there. You should be putting more out there. But then I just like question myself. I second guess myself and then I don't. So it's like kind of an opposite problem.
Well, I didn't know you were dealing with that right now. I was going to take a more practical approach, kind of going back to like when you and I first met and the stuff we talk about, which is, it's especially like, let's look at things that are happening just in the news today. I won't say anything specific, but people's on like stuff surfaces about people, and whether or not that's true or accurate or how it's handled, I think a lot of it, you can be in charge of that. Like you have, and now like in the time that I've known you, put stuff out there. Hopefully there's enough that if someone shows up with some insane accusation, you can see like, it doesn't add up. It doesn't seem like you can control this narrative of you. And it's just in our world, like there is a narrative of you, and it's like, are you just reading it or are you writing it? Like which part are you playing in your own story?
Yeah, it's more of like the content speaks for itself. Like I don't have to tell anybody. I don't have to say anything. Like people can watch the videos, they can follow my progress, they can see the journey, and the journey should be speaking for itself. So I think being a content creator is, I consider it a privilege. Like I take a lot of joy. I love that we're having this conversation because it's like re-inspiring me. But like I think it's like a cool position to be in for me to put these very, not even personal in terms of I'm revealing all these things about my life, but personal in that I care about every single video that I create, even the dumb ones, even the ones that don't take any effort. Like that's a piece of me that's going out there that is available for anyone to view. And I care about if people view it and what they thought about it and stuff like that. But I think because of that, it's more of a fear of like, what if I stopped? Mm-hmm. Like that's scary and sad to me.
Well, I think, and I like that you brought up the privilege thing too, because for me, I don't know how, I mean, I have to be in a certain like headspace to make stuff.
Totally.
And
yeah, I mean,
of course you have to be like, you want to
making more videos than I have.
Well, I know, but you're also like, your channels, there's times where you're documenting this journey, you're in a rough spot, and you're gonna like share that because that's part of it. Whereas, like my channel is just not that. But I want to be not just like feeling good, not just having a good idea and excited about it, but like there's sometimes life happens and gets in the way, and there's just things that make it where like it's even not like I'm just sad or whatever, but I'm just literally not able to focus on like setting up my camera and making a video about like this thing, because there's just bigger, like more important issues to worry about. And so I fully recognize that being able to make something in and of itself, having that opportunity is a privilege. And then being able to sit back and have discussions like this where we can analyze it and think about it, that means that a certain number of things are okay. And it's a very comforting thing to me. And it's a very special thing to me. And I really do appreciate that just as a part of life.
James Henderson is here and he says, did I miss the kids talk? Yes, you did.
You can go back and rewatch it though.
Yeah. Aaron says, I like Heather's idea. Obviously, anonymity is a valuable commodity online, but personally, I think YouTube would be a kinder place if everyone was only able to post under their legal name. That's right. So
I mean,
one account.
My only
legal name.
Thing about that is case in point Facebook, where it's like you have people with their straight up photo and first name, last name saying the worst things you've ever heard.
That's true.
So I don't know. But I think I had heard, I think it was Chris Hardwick on like the Nerdist podcast like 8 years ago was like, what if there was like, you turn 13 and you have to like take a test and get a license to use the internet, like basic things.
I feel like that should be a thing.
I almost like, I don't know how that would work or be implemented, but just the idea, it's just the idea that even remembering there's other people on the internet, just first and foremost, everything you're looking at was put together probably by somebody, or
because like we are never going to leave negative comments, not only because
I would never leave a negative.
Yeah, even if I disagreed with the content, I just move on.
Exactly.
Like you don't have to like get into a fight and try to, because here's the thing, right? A lot of people like a lot of people try to convince the person like of their thought and argument, and it's like, homie, it's so hard to do online. I think I 100% believe it's possible to do that in person. Doing it online is like, it's so hard when people are so it's already so tense. Like people are in defensive mode. They're not in open communication mode. Like, let's get to know each other and let me understand your point of view. They're just like, oh, I have something like bad to say.
Mm-hmm.
I wish everyone would like start out with something good to say first, like, okay, I'm going to say that, I disagreed with this, but I liked this about it. I liked your studio. I liked your, I don't know.
Thanks for taking the time to make this video. I feel that blah, blah, blah. But then you're entering into a dialogue, which is
what they don't want to do.
Yeah.
They don't want to
right
do
off the bat.
Whoa. Okay.
I like
Aaron says, today's tech video was really good. Evergreen content.
Yes.
Aaron, you're awesome.
I know. He also rates all my jokes in my videos.
Usually
very lowly.
That's funny.
I just like people using TEP. I like that.
I know, TEP. See?
It's a thing.
CPAP. Internet etiquette. Yes. James, I love how you guys look at each other. You probably don't notice, but it's honest and sweet.
Oh. Fun fact, we're green screen. We're not even. This is all for show. It's all just a big fake thing.
Oh, man. This is so cheesy, but there's not a day that goes by where I don't look at Tom and be like, I don't know how he gets to be my husband. It's like, how I'm so lucky. Like, how
my
did
thought is, I don't know how she thinks this.
How did I score the guy?
You guys.
Aaron says tutorial about online manners.
I mean,
let me tell you who's not going to take the tutorial about online manners.
Yeah, people who need it.
The people who freaking need it. So.
You would have the most positive comments on that video because it would be all the people who are like, yes, we're in favor of online manners.
Sir Netiquette.
Netiquette. Your netiquette. Yes.
Etiquette yeep. So what other expectations? Let's talk about
I think we had just talked about we had talked about the idea of like,
how about expectations as a partner? We can close on that.
Okay, that's a good one. It's not what I was expecting to talk about right now, but we can talk about this. What do you mean expectations as a partner? Lead me into our discussion here.
I don't know. Am I stepping into weird territory? Okay.
No, it's literally called the couples table.
So we are newlyweds.
We are.
Almost 2 months. What are the expectations when it comes to, I will hold for richer or poor, in sickness and health, for better or for worse, till death do us part?
I think it's interesting because when okay, so just looking at our relationship over the past 3 years, right? We met, and that's very exciting.
The end.
The end. So there you go. We expected it to be great, and it was. We met, and that was like this very exciting thing. And then, we started a relationship together, and that was exciting, and getting to know each other. And then we got engaged, and that is so exciting to share that news with everybody. And then once you're engaged, you're planning, how are we going to get married? And then you get married, and then that's exciting. But then you are married, and that is it. And so I think it's sort of this interesting thing, which luckily I haven't noticed, but I say this because I've noticed it in some of my friends after especially when we were a bit younger, in like our mid to late 20s, and people were finishing college, getting in relationships, getting engaged, getting married, and it was just 5 or 6 years of like milestone. And then they got,
oh my God, it was 5 or 6 years of like wedding presents and bridesmaids dresses, and oh my gosh.
But then it ends, and there was almost this unease within their relationship because there was no next milestone to go. It was just like, we have climbed the mountain, now what? And I'm grateful that I haven't felt that here, but I think that one of the keys is it's very easy for that newness of like newlyweds to wear off, and then you just sort of get in the grind of daily life, which isn't by itself bad, but literally remembering, which you're very good at reminding me of, we stood there, we held each other's hands and said these very specific things. And we didn't say them because it was the thing the person was telling us. Well, I mean, we did, but it was also like because we meant it, and those are important. And it's literally called a vow. Like, it is something you are vowing to hold, sacred for the rest of your life. And remembering what that actually means just constantly is very important. So that way you approach everything that you do, remembering that was the person you said those things with.
So I don't even really agree with the idea of exchanging vows, because I don't think that there needs to be a vow that's made. It's more of like, will you take me?
Yeah.
I don't, of course I promise, but it's more of like, do you take me?
But to me, that's what the vow is. You literally saying, okay, sickness and health.
Yes.
Richest, poorest, whatever the other ones are, better or worse. Like, it's very clear cut. It's not like sickness and like pretty good health and, moderate income to rich. Like, it's these very specific things. You're sick, I'm going to take care of you. Like, you're on tough times, I'm there for you. Years from now, I'm here. I am clearly stating that for the world, for you, for myself, legally right now, period. And then remembering what that means and the gravity of that, for me, is something that's really important, to just make sure that I remember that I just remember it and like treat it respectfully.
Cute.
Wait, where is it? I think it's this one. No, wait, that's an applause. Ignore the applause. I was trying to do the sad trombone.
So let's talk about how these expectations have played out in our very long, no, I'm just kidding, 2 months of marriage. I'm very hard on myself. I don't know if this is a phase or this is just how I am, but I'm hard on myself, okay? And there's a lot of times where I asked Tom, like, are you sure? I'm not tearing up, I'm choking. Are you sure, like, you want to put up with scatterbrained me? Are you sure you want to put up with, person who sets goals and always fails? And are you sure you want to, there's so many times where I feel like I'm the weakest link. And I always ask Tom, like, I'm sorry, I'm Debbie Downer today. I'm sorry, like, I'm in this funk. I'm sorry. And every single time he reminds me of the vow. He's like, I said I do. Ivy win. look at your finger. He'll say, look at your finger. And then I go like this. And he's like, no, the other one. And he'll make me look at the wedding ring. And, you know, I think it truly took me, it truly did feel different after May 18th, where, you know, I've obviously felt this in the past when we were together, but after we got married, it really was a different thing when he would respond with like, I be wed, like we're married, and not in like a we're freaking married, but like we're married. Like, remember, like I want to do this. You know, he's very good about reminding me, like I want to see you, like work with you through these moments. Well, I'm not gonna talk about it. You talk about it, because I'm speaking for you now.
I mean, what
do you mean when you say these things?
that is exactly what I mean. It's that we are
That's how I'm interpreting it.
It's a partnership. I'm glad you're interpreting it that way. That means I'm communicating it clearly, but it's also goes into, you know, you being your own worst critic and setting up your own expectations and saying like, I'm the person that does this, that, and me saying no. Because the flip side is, you know, sometimes I'll say, I'm sorry, I was cranky this morning and whatever. And you'll be like, I didn't even notice. Or
that, and like,
or you'll be like, you just don't need to apologize.
No, that's always what I say, because this guy's always apologize. I mean, so am I. But when he apologizes, I don't know. It just like, it's like the whole world stops and it's the only thing I hear. And I'm like, why are you apologizing for having a bad day? Like, I signed up to be part of your bad days, like not part of your bad days, but like, you know, to get you through your bad days, or experience them with you, whatever it is, like be your partner through them.
I have a thing where if I get sick or something, I'll like, we visited my family a few months back before the world shut down, and I got sick. Like the day we got there, I got like super sick, and I just remember apologizing because I felt so bad. We were ruining like vacation, and you and my mom were like, stop apologizing.
Yeah, dude, like it's not your freaking fault, like whatever. Anyway, how many kids? David the North says 9. Oh my gosh, imagine.
At least.
You know what? I would love a day, not life, of like 9 corgi puppies.
A day of 9 corgi puppies just that somebody else like takes care of. See, that's why, like, the thing is,
we should just volunteer at the pet shelter.
Here's something we forgot to mention with not wanting kids. It doesn't mean we hate kids. I teach kids. I have 200 students that when things are normal that I work with them, and I love them, and they're wonderful. High school kids, and they go home at the end of the day to their own houses. I
just think that because they're not our kids, we have a different relationship.
Right, of course.
It's more of a, you know, a big sister, big brother type of angle, and it's cool to be able to be that figure in someone's life. It's so cool, because I mean, I've been like mentoring and being around high school kids for, gosh, a lot of my career. Not as long as Tom, obviously, since he's a teacher, but I don't know, it's just so much fun.
Yeah. So it doesn't, I should have cleared that up. It doesn't mean we don't like kids. It just means
we're just not having any of our own. But I bet if we did, they'd be cute.
Of course.
Aaron says, you've talked about other expectations of yourselves and your self expectations. What expectations do you have as a couple? Oh, wait, you're talking about this now.
Great
Carlos,
question, though.
Oh my gosh. Are you guys talking about having kids? Yes, please do. You guys are great people. The world needs more just like you.
Well, that is ultra sweet.
Yeah.
That someone would. That's just an ultra sweet thing that somebody would say that. And like,
that's different than like, I think that's different from like, Heather, you're choosing not to have kids.
That's very
like,
different.
Yeah, like women are supposed to have kids. Like you have no idea what you're missing out when it comes to motherhood and blah, blah, blah.
I like to take the idea behind that and look at it as like, do what you can to have the most positive impact on the most people that you can. And that it's not necessarily the same as having kids, but just putting something out there to make the world better, to help people out, to help, you know, maybe we can help someone be better in some way. And that is, you know, it is guiding and growing something positive in the world. And it would be a big honor to think that somebody would think that we would be good people to do that. So thank you.
Our kids are our YouTube channels.
And our dogs.
Yes.
And my camera.
James says, you're right, Heather, you did luck out. That's right. Kyle Simpson. Hey, Kyle, how are you? Good to see you. Happy for you. My wife and I now have a 4-month-old. Congratulations.
I hope you guys are getting rest because we have a 4-month-old puppy and we are not.
Oh my gosh.
As much, at least.
Yeah. He's apologizing because he's smart. Carlos, once you hold that baby in your arms, you will know a love that you never knew possible.
And those are things that we just won't know because you know.
But here's how we can end it. Okay, because we're like over time.
Oh, we are. Wow.
I think we're done with the partner expectations. Really quick.
I didn't expect that.
When did you know you didn't want to have kids? Did you just set the air horn off? The hair horn.
I did the thingy. My journey in deciding I didn't want to have kids is a long and interesting one, I guess you could say. But can you like give is there a early
defining
20s
moment? Okay.
I mean, even late teens, early 20s. Yeah. Well, I can remember being like 12 and 13 and like wondering like, what's my kid gonna be like, and what's this, and like, would it be weird for my kid to like see their dad as a kid, and like blah blah, blah, like having kind of these thoughts.
God, that's so weird, dude. Like
I do not have those thoughts since I was like 13 or whatever, but it's just like,
no, but it's weird that you like early 20s.
I mean, I also had like one of my like mentors in life and good friends and like just people who have helped guide me is somebody who just this year turned 50 and has no kids and has
living his best life.
Yeah. And also like has no partner, is just straight up just living his own life, but has done everything just on his own terms. And it was so like refreshing to just see somebody do that. And whether it involved kids or not, just seeing someone go, this is what I value. This is what I like. This is what I'm going for. And I'm happy with that. And it was that, encountering that at like 21 years old was pretty, formative.
So there wasn't like a defining moment for me. It's just like a combination of experience. I don't even think I had made the decision like in my head out loud until we met. But when you said it,
well, I said it on like day one.
Yeah, this is when we met in his classroom.
I just like was casually like, I'm just doing this thing like I don't ever want to have kids.
But it was like, if you guys can imagine like things like floating in my mind that all of a sudden just snapped into like this perfect chain of like, these things that kind of had been like floating there. I didn't know what they meant, but as soon as you kind of like labeled it, I was like, oh, that's what this feeling is. I don't want kids either. And one of the defining moments, going off of what Carlos says, when you hold the baby in your arms, I had an internship at a hospital in the mother baby unit for 3 months and then in labor and delivery. So the mother baby unit, MBU, is where moms and newborns go to after labor and delivery. So literally, like when I was an intern there, you pretty much do everything the nurses do aside from like, we took vitals. We had to like swaddle the babies, clean them. I had to observe circumcisions. Like, I had to put on their little hats and cradle them and, put them to bed, feed them. There's a lot of.
I don't envy you.
There's a lot of things. Oh my God. Wow. And I will tell you, the whole 3 months I was there, I did not. It's not that I hated being there, but I never had the feeling of like, I can't wait until one of these is my kid. If anything, I looked at the babies and I was like, they're not really that cute, They don't get cute until like a couple months older. Like even puppies aren't cute, like newborns. They just look like little aliens, And I just was like, whatever. And then the next floor that I transferred to after that one was labor and delivery, where I saw a natural live birth, freaking disgusting, and then a C-section where I fainted. So I was like, I don't even think I can get through that. Actually, I know I can.
Can I tell the story of what we saw on TV a couple of days ago?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
So Heather, we've been watching Breaking Bad. I watched it, I've been on the Breaking Bad train and the Better Call Saul train the whole time, but Heather hasn't. And
I'm catching up.
She's catching up. And there was an episode we watched this week. We're in like season 2, so there's no spoilers here if you haven't seen it. But there's literally a scene where a man is beaten to death. Like his face is crushed in by another person, just like punching him and wailing him. And there's blood everywhere and the crunchy sounds and whatever. And Heather's like sitting there watching it. And it cuts from that to another character like putting lotion on her pregnant stomach. And Heather goes, "Oh, gross." I was like, you literally just saw a man be beaten to death bloodily.
See,
no reaction.
And that's like that's not like a conscious decision on my part. And I feel like if I were meant to be a mom, I would have looked at that scene.
I mean,
like,
to be fair,
wow.
they're doing it because like the character's super like she's just about to have the baby. Like everything is it's like the most extreme, pregnant belly situation, and it looks pretty painful and whatever. But I was like, we just saw like the worst thing.
I know, and I didn't say anything.
I'm like covering my eyes. I can't look at it. But
anyway, so where are we here? Aaron says their content is their baby. It's like 3 a.m. over there, and he's still taking care of the baby, our baby. James says, "Thanks for the live video. You two are awesome people. You are awesome too."
Yes, that's what I was going to say.
Carlos, I love you guys. Totally agree that every impact you have on others is a chance to improve the world. Cheers.
Thank you.
Yeah, circumcision is messed up. It is. I mean, I saw so many of them. It is like.
So this isn't where I thought our live stream was going to go.
It is not a pleasant procedure, and I can't believe.
I need to look at my headphones and fix stuff.
Just Kissa. Hi guys. Hey Krista. Oh my god, that's so funny. We're talking
Speaking
about
of kids.
Yeah. But let me tell you whose kid is super cute. It is my friend Carissa.
The flip side is every time Heather talks to Carissa, she will show me pictures and be like, "Look at this baby. I know I'm not into babies, but this baby is cute. This baby's cute." And
like my friends' babies are so cute. Like they're really cute freaking babies, man. Like, wow, it's a cute baby. See, that's what's cool about us, because we are going to be the most awesome aunt and uncle. Yeah. Aunt. Tita. And
Tita and Tito.
Yeah. Yes, I'm very excited to let's like push my brother to have kids. Even though we just went through this whole thing.
Let's not. Wow, we have learned nothing here today. Just cut this last 5 minutes off here.
I'm kidding.
We will circumcise this last 5 minutes from the show. Yikes.
Oh man. But anyway, a lot of my friends have kids, and I'm very excited to be that like fun aunt who gets to say hi every now and then.
Yeah.
And be a babysitter. Well, I'm like super far away, but
load them up on sugar and then send them home.
Yeah. Yes. Mona, are you guys open to adopting an older child, maybe later in your life, thinking 50s or 60s? That's a good question.
That's a good question. I mean, my impulse is to say no. My other impulse is to go like, God, we have no idea what the future holds.
That's my impulse. Is like I couldn't tell you where I'm going to be in 2 years, let alone 50, 60.
I can stick by the thing that it is super rewarding in a lot of ways. As a teacher, you become a surrogate parent to your students, more than you would probably ever expect.
In touch with, like, I still keep in touch with the kids.
And because of what I teach, I work with kids for up to 4 years in a row, which is, going from being 13 to 17 or 18 is a huge chunk of important years. And that's super rewarding. And I love that. And that kind of fits also with me as a person.
Aaron says, I can't wait for the circumcision discussion episode.
I wonder who your co-host will be on that one.
You're going to be the favorite Tita and Tito for sure. Yeah, because we are cool. You didn't laugh.
It's a tagline for this show.
I think 50 or 60 is a bit old to be adopted. I mean, I
don't. Sorry.
You guys should be like friends.
It's like the Adopt a Highway program. How do you even fit that in your house? Anyway, this is probably the end of our show.
Yeah, I think we're done here.
Train is off the tracks. And we should take our puppy, our little fur baby out. Sorry, I'm tired. Out for the bathroom.
Potty.
Yes.
Yeah. All right. So what are we going to talk about next?
We have no idea, but we would love ideas if there's things that you think we might have an interesting take on or would like to see us discuss, or
give us future episode ideas.
Yeah, it's kind of like things that sort of pop up and feel relevant at the time.
Yeah.
That we do the show. But we'll probably see you next Wednesday or Thursday-ish. Thursday seems to be where we've been landing most frequently. and I like it.
So if you want to tune in live, make sure to hit the bell so you get the notifications of when we go live, because we're not ready to commit to a date and time.
Okay, if we can't commit to, we can commit to each other, but if we can't commit to a live stream schedule, maybe having kids is not like.
All right. Anyway, like this video. If you like this video, leave us a comment with future episode ideas. And why are you laughing?
I'm just like, it's clearly 1 hour is like the mark where like things are great, and then after it just falls apart.
It's just happy hour at that point.
But it's funny.
Anyway, it's been fun hanging out with you guys.
It has been great. Thank you so much. And thank you for listening if you're still there listening.
Okay.
We will be wearing masks. Carlos says, yes, we wear masks when we go outside. We finally got comfy ones. We're happy about it. We love you guys. We hope you're staying safe, having fun, all those things.
Take care. Bye, everybody.
See you next time.